but I don't know if you met Joe. I was buttering you up because it's likely.
Are we live right
it's
now?
likely.
I can't hear you if you're saying. Are we live right now? Is that what's going on? Are we live? Is that what's happening? I'm gonna look it up. See if we're actually live.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, me too. I don't know if we're live or not.
Yeah, me either. Let's find out.
Can't hear production, so I'm gonna.
Ooh, it looks like we are.
We are okay.
Looks like we are.
The greatest intro to the Warhammer Meta Chasers you've ever heard, everybody. So welcome to the Warhammer Meta Chasers. We are here again every week for your pulse on the meta. Paul is off.
That's right.
Really taking a pulse physically there.
He's taken a step back in prestige and in overall quality of stream to go and do the Kansas City Open for G-Dub this weekend. Definitely a step down though. 100%.
Definitely a step down. Like obviously we have better quality and everything, but you definitely should be checking that out this weekend because that'll be a great show as always.
And a lot more 10th goodies to come during that one.
Oh yes, that's what a lot of people are looking forward to.
I will give everybody a heads up. I am pretty under the weather. I've got a pretty bad cough and I'm sneezing and all sorts. I'm going to try and mute myself when I do. Might make the visual elements of this less endearing or more. Who knows? But yeah, we will carry on to the best of our ability.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. You're a professional.
And to that end, we have your weekly hype show here ready to go. We have two big, nice team events. Of course, one being the one I just noted, the Kansas City G-Dub Open. Which is a nice team event. And then what's this? We've got another team event, Brood Wars by the Pecking Order crew out of Olympia, Washington. So two team events.
I have to say that is one of the greatest themes for a tournament. I love that.
It's pretty good.
I wonder why.
From StarCraft days.
Yeah, StarCraft days. Oh, Brood Wars.
Fair.
Brood Wars one of the greatest RTS.
Well, it's essentially the first esport, right? Or did Counter-Strike? You reckon Counter-Strike was before StarCraft 1? Because that'd be the other contenders, right?
You know what? We need to look this up for sure. But no, we don't do it right now. But I definitely need to look that because I am curious.
Someone in chat.
It is definitely my introduction to esports.
Yes, mine was the other side. I was into Counter Strike first, which is why I mention it. Well, I wasn't good enough to play StarCraft, but man, I could jump in headshot real good.
Oh yeah, jump in headshot, perfect. You're definitely a shooter. I can tell you're an FPS player for sure.
How far? Sorry. All right. Someone's asked. Alex has asked in the chat. How far are those events from London? You want to have a punt? As our reigning champion?
I'll take one. You take
the other. Kansas. We'll do Kansas. No, we'll just do one.
Okay, Kansas.
Yep.
5,400.
Bit high.
4,800.
43. 41 miles. So no, actually, if it was kilometers, you might be right with.
Obviously, I was talking kilometers.
Obviously, it was kilometers.
I'm Canadian. Obviously, it was kilometers.
In kilometers, 69.86. Nice.
Nailed it.
Bro, anyway, you want to jump into that first event for us, mate?
For sure. So we've got the U.S. Open, Kansas Open. That is in Kansas City, Missouri. That is in the USA. Sure, everybody was aware of that as well. We do it for Europe. We got to do it here.
Get this clown show nonsense together, and get Kansas City reboarded to be in the state of freaking Kansas. just fix it. I don't care how.
We keep naming cities the same in other continents, other countries anyway. Why can't you just do it in your own country? I feel like that would make more sense, wouldn't it?
Like Washington State, and you got Washington City, and you got and they're not in the same thing, and you got Kansas City and Kansas State, and they're not in the same. Just figure it out. This isn't my problem. I'm not from there. I'm not deal with it.
While we're on the subject, I'm not a fan of the whole new thing, like the New York whatnot. You should just be like the other York or American York or something like that. You know, like that way we
pseudo York.
Pseudo York. Like if there's another York that comes out, that one's no longer New York anymore. Like
newer.
Okay. Newer York.
Like New Coke.
Newer Coke. Cherry York.
Faction breakdown, mate. Let's go.
195 players, 39 teams of 5. So again, if you're not familiar with the team format, it means that no faction can be duplicated. Like codex can be duplicated. So there will not be any more than 39 of any single faction represented in this. But we want to see how close we get to well, 50% is usually, we don't usually hit 50% of representation for any faction, usually.
We have not topped 50% representation for anything in a team's event for, I want to say, about 12 months.
Yeah, 12 months.
That might be overs, it might be 9 months, but it has been a damn while since we saw something above 50%. And we are about to. Give us the breakdown, mate.
Yeah, for sure. So the quick and dirty stats here. For the Imperial Super Faction, there are 3 Sisters of Battle, 9 Custodes, 2 Ad Mecha. And here it is. It has finally happened. 32 Astra Militarum of 39 teams.
We may just pause there for a moment.
Yeah, we need to pause there for a moment.
Not only are we over half, we're 7 less. There's only 7 teams out of 39 that did not take guard. This is absurd.
7 teams are out of the loop, apparently. Or in the loop. I don't know.
Or in the loop. Yeah. But this is absurd. 7. This is absurd. Like 32 out of 39.
For the entirety of 9th, we have not seen anybody breach 50%. And now Astra Militarum, out of nowhere, are suddenly I'm not going to say I'm surprised, because to me, Astra Militarum should have been on that podium, up to the 100% marker, hitting the 80-90 percentile for a long time. But what's changed now? Is it just this happens to be where they all live? I don't.
Well, give us the rest of the breakdown now, and I think we can extrapolate some things.
Okay, well, let's extrapolate after I finish this then. So, continuing with the Imperial Super Faction, there's 7 Grey Knights and 6 Imperial Knights. Space Marines, there's 4 Dark Angels, 7 Space Wolves, 1 Blood Angel, 2 Ultramarines, 1 Salamander, 5 Black Templar, 9 Iron Hands, and a Death Watch. Chaos, there's 5 Chaos Space Marines, 4 T-Suns, 3 Death Guard, 13 World Eaters, 16 Demons, and 11 Renegade Knights. Xenos, there's 12 Necrons, 11 Orcs, 13 Tau, and 8 Votan. Hive Mind, there's 6 Tyranids and 4 Genestealer Cult. And Eldari, there's 2 Drukhari, 9 Assyriani, and a single Ynnari, meaning the faction podium ends up being Astra Militarum again at 32. And here is the biggest cliff we've ever seen. Half of that is Demons at 16 in second, and then Tau and World Eaters at 11.
Absolutely mental that there is 16 teams difference.
Yeah.
it's so buck wild. I mean, 50% for Demons is it's not even 50%. It's 39 teams. Sorry, so they're not even 50%. As the second place is not even 50%. It's so crazy to me that firstly there are that many guard players. Everyone's got a guard, mate. But the shooting numbers, the numbers of shooting lists, is very high here if you put them all together.
Yeah, but the same thing that the podium is split half and half. Well, okay, half and half, and Astra Militarum, but because Demons and World Eaters, they're not shooty.
But I would argue that Demons are counter shooty.
They can be, yep. World Eaters are technically the same. They can be counter shooty. It can be a little swingy depending on the terrain and who goes first, whatnot.
But World Eaters, in my opinion, are the new Necrons. They're like a reskinned Necrons. I'm going to get tabled on turn 4, and I'm going to have scored 83 points by the time I'm dead. So you're not beating me by much if you are beating me. That kind of a dick. So Iron Hands is the most taken Space Marine chapter, as in of what people have prioritized. They've prioritized value with Space Wolves, but more than that, 2 more lists than that, they've prioritized Dakar. Then we see the polarity of 13 Orcs and 8 Votan. Healthy Votan numbers, not overs, not unders, about right. An overabundance of Tau when you juxtapose that with the fact that there's 32 guard. There has to be at least 5 lists from this. Is that 5? 6 lists from this that have Tau and guard, yeah? A minimum.
Minimum, yes.
A minimum of 6 of those have overlapped and have Tau and guard. That is a very interesting thing. Extremely interesting when you break down how that changes the way a 5-pack comes together. This makes me think that, and I should have looked into this when I saw these, because I've had this since then. There will be a table layout, because you know how GW has their table layouts. I can't remember which table it is. I think it's table 4. That is an absolute MF and shooting gallery.
Bowling ball?
It makes me believe that is the case for at least one of the table setups. That there is going to be at least one table that is an absolute freaking bowling ball. And so everyone's just guard will just roll the trash out of that. So everyone's taking guard.
That makes sense. But at the same time, taking them and Tau, I would question at that point. If there's only one bowling ball, then one of your guys is going to get... I guess they do have play outside. It's not to say that they don't have play outside of it. It's just if that's your reasoning behind it, I feel it's a little flawed to take 2 of them. So maybe it's just they feel more comfortable being able to take both of them. It means that they're specifically worried about other lists or another list that is countered by these. They want to be able to get one. Having 2 of these kind of shooting armies means they're worried about something specifically. They need to make sure they get a shooting army too. Now, what would that be? Would that it shouldn't be demons or world leaders? It could be world leaders if they get the right table, but demons too. But if they're the Zinch, then it's just like, okay, how many 3-ups can you make, buddy? Let's find out together.
So Asuryani is another one as well. Obviously, that plays quite well on GW tables because they are a shooting army,
absolutely.
a little bit more jank interacting with the big bricks, squares. You just fire and fade off the back of the square and shoot whatever you want. But you're right. What are they hunting? What are all the guard there to brutalize? And essentially, I think anything.
Like, if I'm being honest, and I hate saying this, but it might be Space Wolves. It might be Marines in general, which is weird to say because normally when I talk to people who have been building lists, the first thing they mention about their list is like, oh, look how good I am at killing Marines. And everybody assumes me good at killing Marines, but yet Space Wolves, specifically Space Wolves, but all the Imperial factions right now are they're dominating.
So John in the chat, there are 3 table setups. 2 of them have huge lanes through the middle. There we go. Case in point. Didn't even look it up.
Okay,
extrapolated it from the data, and we came to the sensible conclusion.
That now makes perfect sense of why we do that. Perfect. Thank you, John. That is exactly why we do this live for people like you to help us out with this. So that makes perfect sense then of why they're bringing 2 shooting armies because they have 2 table setups perfect for it. Then it doesn't even matter what they go into. It's like if I got a lane on you, you're done. Like,
well, one of them is going to pay out.
Yeah, one of them is going to pay out.
And guards score well regardless, even if they're on. I've played like a mech guard list on heavy tables and still gotten decent scores. So it's actually fine. Yeah. In those tables, maybe they protect the tower. The tower needs a little bit more. But let's go into some of 2 of the top teams in attendance. And honestly, at Kansas, we are spoiled for choice.
No kidding.
I've gone with Art of War and Team USA because I think Art of War, everyone wants to know what Art of War is doing.
Of course.
And Team USA because it's the national team and they should get the props, We should always check in with them. All right, first up, we have a GSC list, which is Toil, Affinity, Convoy, and Fury. And it's pretty much what you'd expect. It's the 90 Neos, 30 Jackals, and a bajillion characters, a couple of units of Akos. Next up, we have World Eaters, which is just a quintessential Lord Avo build. Literally the cereal box Lord Avocado build. I think it's like 6x5 Zerkers, 3 units of 8-bound, Exalted 8-bound, 3 Spawn, a couple of Rhinos. Exactly what do you think? A pretty interesting Nihilak Necron build. Double Catan, 2 big bricks of 10 Lich Guard with sword and board, 2x3 Heavy Destroyers, 2x3 Tomb Blades, and then some little bits and pieces. But that is a very interesting list. I believe it is Void Dragon and the Deceiver, which I find quite spicy.
Is that Siegler?
I believe that's Harpster.
That's Harpster. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Astra Militarum, and this is John Lennon. He's coined this as Last March of the Sense because he's a lad. He's a freaking lad. That's why.
Hey, you spend all that time making those bases the right size now, man. You deserve it.
Oh, man. You deserve it. 3x3 Armor Sentinels, 3 Russes, all the Mortars, 10 Kassakin. Pretty standard. And then Adeptus Astartes. This is Ultramarines. G-Man, Tiggy, 10 Terminators, 2x5 Desos, and a big unit of Eradicators, and I think just some Scouts and Storms and some Misk stuff. But the big thing to note here is that I think apart from the Necrons, they're all singles lists.
Yep, 100%. 100%.
This is what you could expect from a team that backs its players, essentially. And if Art of War isn't going to back their players, who gets to back their players?
Yeah, exactly. That's the big thing to remember in a team event, too, especially in a 5-man. 8-man, you start getting a little stretched, and you might need to actually gear a little bit to skew some lists. Or if there are specific lists that you're really scared of, that you have to have 2 lists specifically skewed to beat that one otherwise, or you're throwing somebody to the Wolves every time. That was not meant to be... Space Wolves are actually one of those.
Yeah.
Anyway, when it's only 5 players, it is actually a really good strategy to be able to just build all singles lists. If you have that many armies that can do that and players to do it with, which obviously Art of War does, and 9th edition in its current state does have those kind of singles lists. The Necrons one, as you said, is the only one that is still a singles list. It's just not one you would normally see in like top meta right now.
Exactly right. It screams to me a skew for a particular purpose.
Mhm.
And obviously, like a brick of 10 Lich Guard with 2 Catan behind it, walking up the board, it becomes a very hard brick to really unpack. 2x3 heavy Ds, 2x3 Tomb Blades. I expected to see the Silent King when I got to the bottom of this list, but I did not. I think the rest is just like characters and a couple of Scarab units and crap like that.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so it's a lot. It's a lot of points to be slapped with Lich Guard, because they're expensive, and then the double Catan are very expensive as well.
I've actually been a big fan of Lich Guard as of late. I feel like they actually have a lot of play in the Necron list. Team events specifically, singles events they still have some play, but you looked if you're not watching this live, you might not have seen it, but Adam just had a visual epiphany. So
sometimes I've got a decent memory. I've got some pretty good recall. I remember Amrukir the Traveler's in this list, so the Lich Guard are going to have 4 attacks each. Yeah. I think we may have lost Dustin. It's time for the heavy lifting. So yeah, the other one that really jumps out to me is the Ultramarines, and I know this is Cass from the Vancouver area in Canada who just won a GT with a similar list. This is a pretty spicy one. I can't remember what exactly the Ultramarines do for the Terminators, but the Terminators plus G-Man moving a bit faster, +1 advance, +1 charge, all those rerolls, and then the Desos with G-Man as well for a couple of turns, they can do some pretty decent heavy lifting for you. Definitely will win if there is a lot of guard in there, they will kill the mortars, they'll pressure them, and then the Terminators might just make it off the board. Damn it, Dustin! What have you gone and left me?
Okay, I did it.
Back.
If you didn't answer the question before of who disconnected, it was me apparently. So
it was you. It was fine. we managed it. Nicholas James, he has a Judicia with a relic that gives +1 attacks to the Terminator brick, so it's a melee midboard package. Yeah, he wants to rumble in the melee. In the midboard. He wants the Desos to sit at max range, with possibly the Eradicator sitting, in a nice ruin or off the board, and then make you rumble in the middle with him in Deso range. It's actually a pretty cool list. I think it's not bad for what you can do with Ultramarines, especially the only thing I don't like is that if I was taking Ultramarines, every list would start with 3x3 Victrix Guard. I think they're absolutely cranked. I love them so much.
Really?
Yeah. For just 2 little mooks with a 3+ invulnerable save that you can transhuman, absolute value town.
Yeah, that's annoying.
It's just so cranked busted. Like I used to have Deathwing command squads, and they're what I wish the Deathwing command squads were now. Like, yeah.
You know what? That would make sense. I feel like the Deathwing command, the Deathwing Terminator thing was weird for a while because there was like 8 different kinds, and they were so little difference between them. Like, what was the point? Give them something kind of unique thing to them. I like the command squads; they're actually cool.
I reckon they're cool. All right, mate. Any last thoughts on this 5-pack before we move on?
No, to me that makes sense too. The only thing that is questionable to me is the Necrons. Not questionable as in like they shouldn't have taken it. The questionable is in like what's it do? I want to know what it's there for. What's the plan? Because Harpster is obviously good with a lot of different armies. So putting him on Necrons, I want to know what it's about. I'm interested.
Right. All right. And next up, we have Team USA. So I believe Sean Naden is playing the Assyrian. Oh no, I think he's playing the Orcs in this one, and it is a very interesting Orc list. They've got Custodes Empress Chosen, which is the Oops All Dreads build. So 3 Ven Dreads, 3 Achilles Dreads, and 3 Caladius Grav Tanks. That's pretty much 99.9% of that list. Freeblade Lance Imperial Knights up next with a freaking turn 1 reserve Castellan, an Errant, 4 Warglaves, 1 Helverin, and 1 Lightning Lock Moirax.
I knew someone was going to do it eventually.
Oh, dude, that Castellan is legit. I rate it in teams, especially just for here's our put up. Even if you put a checkmate into it, it just goes into reserve. Like, and even if you match a list that can kind of coin flip it, Castellan just goes into reserve, comes on, kills the Castellan.
It instantly wins the coin flip.
Yeah. Well, it's 2 coin flips to 1 or 3 coin flips to 1.
Right.
You know, he only needs to win one of them. All right. Adeptus Astartes, Iron Hands, good stuff. 10 Vang Vets, 2x5 Desos, Devs with a pod, Volcam Door, 3 single Tornadoes, all that good stuff. Then we have Ulthaway and Light Sadith Eldari. 8 Wraithguard, 2 Phoenix Lords, Eldrad, MSU Melee, a couple of Vipers and Shroud Runners, 1 Troop Squad in a boat with a Dead J and a Troop Master. Pretty straightforward. And then lastly, this is the spice. This is Goth Orcs, which is MSU Knobs, mate.
See?
We've been waiting.
We've been waiting. I love this.
5, 4, 3 Mega Knobs, 3x5 regular knobs, 2 of them which have power claws, 1 of them has big choppers, 4 knobs on bikes, which is the first time I've seen them forever.
I think they're great.
I think they're fine. 2 battle wagons, a truck, and a unit of 4 kilocans. And then the usual suspects. He's got like a beast boss and a war boss on bike and some grots and stuff like that. But that list is freaking spicy, man.
I love it. That's a great list. I love that list. Is it good? I have no idea, but I love it. I want it. Obviously, that definitely looks like a Naden style list because you look at it like
it really does.
That is weird. Who's playing it? Naden? Makes sense. Okay, I get it now.
It's either Naden or Ben Jurek.
Oh, either one of those guys.
Yeah,
perfect.
It doesn't matter, right?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. But this is another very good team. This is a much more skewed lineup. Like the only straight up singles list is the Iron Hands one. Even the Asuriani has been tilted a little bit for teams with the Wraithguard edition.
Yeah.
So
no, this is the opposite of Art of War. Instead of taking all singles, they took all skews except for
all skews.
Actually, you know what? Orcs is still. I think they're skewed too.
100%. I think the Orcs are skewed, mate. You're really interesting.
Like you said, it's just the Iron Hands. Yeah. Wow. I was actually looking at. I was going to say Orcs aren't. Yes, they are. That's all knobs. That's skewed.
So they've got the Custodes, which is essentially a pseudo night list.
Yep, mini night list.
To a lot of it, but it pushes different metrics. It pushes 2-up armor saves and feel no pains, and then the -1 hit banner and stuff like that, instead of pushing the minus damage, dread auras, things of that ilk. Also, Kite has better shooting with the 3 Caladiuses plus all the little shots from the dreads than a night list on some parameters. And so, but then they've still got a night list, and they've still got an Iron Hands list. It's actually, their lineup is super Daka-centric.
Yeah, well, I mean, with those 2 tables, the line of sight through the middle, that makes perfect sense too. But they also have, even if they don't get a first pick on one, they have at least 2 lists that just can stand in the middle of it and not care, like with the Custodes and the Knights even.
Yeah.
Hell, the Higher in Hands could do it too.
And
but
I'm just going to say it. That Orc list
go on.
is World Eaters. It looks like a World Eaters list to me.
It would be World Eaters if they got points for dying.
Perfectly said, but you get what I mean. Like all the units of knobs and nega knobs are all the 8 bound.
You're right. It literally is. It is a World Eaters list in terms of like the units and everything. It'll play the same. It might score a little bit differently, but they can still take enough secondaries that I think they'll be fine for that. Like that's a good point. Like that is the Orcs World Leader list.
I believe
it really is.
Really cool. Really cool.
Huh.
Yeah. The only other one that's really spicy to unpack is the Harlequins and Asuriani build, like the Wraithguard plus Eldrad, to just like, here are my Wraithguard, I am all the way, every buff.
Sounds like there's a button there though.
Sorry?
It sounds like there's a button there. You say you really like it, but it sounded like you were going into a But. See? I heard it.
Yeah. I worry it's not enough units for Asuriani.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Asuriani, with that many Wraithguard and Eldrad and 2 Phoenix Lords, that is, if those Wraithguard go down,
yeah. So it's kind of, in my mind, it's kind of built to be a little bit of a foil to the Guard army. The Wraithguard make a middle position, fire and fade, picking up Lehman Russes at will.
They're D-side, they're D-cannon Wraithguard.
But are they? So is it Wraithguard?
Right, Wraithguard. Yeah, jeez. So, but are they D-side?
Yeah,
or are
they're Wraithguard. They're not Wraith Blades. Yeah.
I'm just making sure.
I can't remember. I got to assume they're D cannons. You would never take D sides, right? You never get close enough.
I don't think so. But I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't seen 8 Wraith Guard. I usually see 8 Wraith Blades. That's why it's kind of.
It's true. Well, now you
But
got
the
me
Fire and
worried.
Fade does make sense.
I'm getting worried I got it wrong
No,
now,
it
man.
makes sense because again with the Fire and Fade, it does make sense. Because the Phoenix Lords make sure they're not dying and everything. But
Yep.
I'm curious, so I would like confirmation if you're in the middle of looking it up because
I will literally look
I
it up
have
now.
definitely not seen Wraith Guard that way. I've like not a mass Wraith Guard defensive unit since like 5th edition. So I want to make sure it actually is Wraith Guard and not Wraith Blades. Either way, it's still kind of the same concept. But now that I'm looking at the rest of the list, honestly, the Wraith Guard makes more sense.
Yeah, the Wraith Guard makes more sense to me as well. Also, the double Phoenix Lords, 100% is meant to go into the shooting matchups so they can exist and not be one-turned. USA, here we go. Da-da. Why are there so many people with you? It's America. Why are there so many people with USA in this stuff? I should have seen this. I should have foreseen this issue. All right. Quinton Johnson is the player, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So the full list from the top. A couple of single Skyrunner Seer Councils, 2 of them. Baharoth, Eldrad, Farseer Skyrunner, Karandris, 5 Rangers, 5 Banshees, 5 Scorps, 8 Wraith Guard with Wraith Cannons. I was right. 2x3 Shroud Runners, 2 single Vipers, and then the Light Patrol.
Yeah, well, like I said,
it's a cool list.
Looking at the rest of the list, the Wraith Guard did make sense. I just wanted to make sure too because I haven't seen them, but it does make sense. I like it.
All right, mate. Time for us to pick some winners.
And you can't pick Astra Militarum because that's just cheating.
I think I do think we just veto Guard because of how far they're up. Because if we could pick anything, we would both just pick Guard, and there would be a moot point. So
completely moot.
Guard have been vetoed.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Ball. Oh, with all the stuff here, I'm looking at the ones that don't have that much representation. I don't even know how you score this, so I'm just going to pick something that I know is going to do well and get points. And honestly, I think World Eaters is still one of those armies that just scores ridiculously well.
I am tossing up World Eaters or Orcs, so I'm going to go Orcs.
Okay. Yep. That was the other one I was thinking of too.
We're going to default when one of our members isn't here. We're going to default them to their meme choice. So Paul will be picking Blood Angels for every event.
Yeah, of course.
If he wins, it's just even funnier.
Yeah, it's even better if he wins.
It's absolutely so much better. And for those who do not know, this is the middle of the show. We've got a Patreon, guys. We got a beautiful Patreon. You can go up there and find Warhammer Meta Chasers 40k or whatever it is, and join 3 lovely tiers of our community. The first one is if you just like what we do and you want to give us $3 so we can continue to do it, pay our overheads, possibly editors in the future, possibly paying production, etc., etc. And if you want to do that, jump over. Click on that one, and thank you very much. If you want some perks as well, you can click us another $7 and go up to the $10 tier, where you'll get access to the show notes. So all the stats and everything we pull out for every single event that we do will be made available to you. In addition, a whole second half of the show, and I say second half in quotation marks because it's probably going to be around 15 minutes to half an hour, where we look back on the events that we covered, tell you what won, who won, and which one of us is currently winning their picks for who we chose to win certain events. I'll tell you right now, we did our first one last week because I chose Space Wolves to win an event. Turns out I should have chosen Space Wolves to win every event. But it ended up I had one first place pick, which is worth 3 points. Paul picked third place twice, which is worth 1 point each. And Dustin, when the 2 events where none of us picked a podium, your pick was the first one that came up, and so you got 2 tiebreaker points. But seeing as you got no actual points, essentially useless, brother. And then the last tier, should you really love what we do and want to give us $15 a month, you will not only get access to everything I just mentioned as well, and the Discord community, which I think is open to all, but especially the second tier. You'll also get to influence the fuego of this show. So if you don't know, after we get all the crunchy stats at the back end, we just do a palate cleanser where we just kind of talk some nonsense. We are given a bunch of questions by production. We have 2 minutes to answer them. Once it's over, that is it. That is done. You can influence that part of the show, put in whatever memes, whatever dreams, whatever silliness you want us to go through. We'll absolutely do that. In addition, should we be covering an event that you're in attendance at, your list will be prioritized as one of those we will unpack and cover on the show. Of course, numbers notwithstanding, should we get like 100 people in that section, and they're all going to the LGT. Naturally, we can't cover all of them, but we'll do the
Those
best
will be
we
a good
can to
problem.
service.
Good problems to have when we get there, though.
Quality problems, right? Yes.
Quality problems.
Yes. But yeah, please jump over Warhammer Meta Chasers over on Patreon and support us. We already have a great bunch of folks over there. Much appreciated. Hopefully they're getting their money's worth. All right, brother, tell us about the second event.
All right, so the next one will be, again, one of the coolest names for an event. Brood Wars 2023 from Olympia, Washington, again in the U.S., in case those of you don't know where Washington is. It is not New Washington, just Washington. The 86-player, it is another team event, 86 players in 17 teams of 5. So again, with the team event, we won't expect to see any more. We can't see any more than 17, but we'll see how many actually breach 50% or if Astra Militarum are dominating this event as well. 5 rounds, quick and dirty stats here. The Imperial Super Faction is 1 Sisters of Battle, 5 Custodes, only 7 Astra Militarum.
Rookie
3
numbers,
Grey Knights,
mate.
3 Grey Knights and 3 Imperial Knights. Space Marines are 2 Dark Angels, 1 Space Wolf, 1 Blood Angel, 2 Ultramarines, 2 Salamanders, 1 Imperial Fist, and 2 Iron Hands. Chaos is 3 Chaos Space Marines, 3 T-Suns, 3 Death Guard, 5 Rule Leaders, 6 Demons, and 3 Renegade Knights. Xenos, there's 5 Necrons, 6 Orcs, 5 Tau, 5 Votan. Hive Mind, there's 3 Tyranids and 2 GC, they're called. Eldar, there's 2 Drukhari and 4 Asuriani, meaning the faction podium. Astra Militarum at 7, Demon Orcs at 6, Leagues of Votan, Tau, Krons, World Leaders, and Custodes all at 5. This is beautiful.
It's a beautiful spread.
This is
well done,
beautiful.
Olympia, Washington. That is a beautiful event. If this was the same as the previous event, there'd be, 14 out of 17 guard?
14-ish.
If it's about
14,
yeah. Somewhere between 13 and 15 guard players. So much more reasonable. Of course, that's under Kansas. This is essentially the middle of America and the top left of America. So it's not, whilst it's pretty far away, it's only like 1 Europe away from each other.
Yeah, it's still it's within range of, like, if it was big enough, then U.S. players and even Canadian players might go to, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly right. Absolutely awesome spread. Really, really, really good job by them to keep that meta so diverse and so interesting. But still, kind of the usual suspects in first and second place, same as the previous event. Yeah. Guard and Demons in pole position, and then World Eaters making the podium. Tau making the podium.
Yeah, but at that point, it's 17 teams. Having 5 representation of them is almost mandatory. Like,
absolutely right. That's the thing, though. I was about to say, as soon as you get down to the team metrics, these all just make all the sense in the world, except for Votan. Seeing Votan, Votan, Tau, and Guard, I always have the opinion that they're going to rob from each other in the pairings process. That you're robbing from Peter to pay Paul by having multiples of those, let alone having 3 of those in the same list. Yeah. But I have since learned that there are some really, really spicy Votan skews you can do that don't operate like a traditional list. Really? Traditional shooting list. Yeah. Well, firstly, the 18 Pioneers doesn't operate like a triple hecaton gun line, right?
Fair, yeah. I mean,
which stressed. You go.
It's just because it's fast obsec. I feel like they can still fold pretty quickly, though.
Yeah, well, that's always the risk, right? And you got to use the pairings process to maneuver the people who can alpha strike.
I mean, if they would wreck horde armies,
Absolutely. You think about the orc matchup into that.
Oh my god, that would be brutal.
If you can't charge me turn 1, I think you're right. I think
you're dead.
I think you're dead, man. Yeah. But yeah, there are some Votan skews that are starting to come out and get a lot of traction. Custodians makes all the sense in the world. World Eaters all the sense in the world. Krons on the uptick.
Uptick. I'm using quotation because this is good radio, but uptick with Krons on a 5 and a 17. Is it really an uptick, or is that just average and everything else is averaged out nicely this event? I don't think I consider that an uptick.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, 5 out of 17 isn't an uptick. Having them on the podium, I guess, is the uptick.
Yeah, having them on the podium.
But you're right. When you break it down to the actual figures, 5 isn't all that impressive. You're correct.
Yeah, I just think the spread in this event is phenomenal. This is
beautiful.
Beautiful.
Chef's kiss. Gorgeous. Love it. Even looking at the Space Marine, like there's no 3 in Space Marines. It's all 1s and 2s.
Yeah. It's wonderful. If this was like a singles event, oh my god, it would be heaven. It would be be
heaven.
And then knowing my luck, I'd go there 8-round tournament, play 7 Astra Militarum.
Oh god.
Or play one of the Astroturf
Uh,
twice.
yeah, exactly right. Anyway, top teams in attendance. First up is probably my pick to win the event of the teams that I broke down. There are plenty of names here I do not know, but I know most of the ones on this one. These are the Rose City Ruffians. And I'm going to throw a bit of shade because after meeting these guys, the last words I would I would think of is ruffians.
Is that throwing
bless
shade?
bless their souls. Oh, they're a bunch of young, like really hungry, really good players. And so I'm like, they're using like
Ruffians.
old termy language, ruffians. I love it. All right, World Eaters. There's another standard Lord Invocado build, but they've got a War Dog slapped in there as well. Then we have Goth Orcs, 30 Storm Boys through 3 kill rigs, usual suspects to all intents and purposes. We have a Iron Hand Successor, Whirlwinds of Rage, Master Artisans. It's essentially exactly the same as the previous list that we did in the last one, but they've got a Gladiator Reaper instead of some of the other bits and pieces. The same Vang Vets, Desos, Devs in a Pod, and the Volkemptor. A pure Slaneshi Demons list with Be'lakor, 3 flavors of Heralds. I think it's the all the good ones. I can't remember what they're called. 70 Demonettes and 3 units of Fiends. 655 for the Fiends. And then lastly, a Rusted Claw GSC build, 60 Neophytes, 3x3 Jackals, 3 Rock Grinders, a Truck, and the 7 good characters.
Somebody's been watching Lathurus.
Yeah, someone's been paying attention to the evolution. Essentially, I like all these lists. But once again, apart from the Slaneshi Demons, which I argue isn't even that.
Yeah, they are. The only gripe that I have with these, really, because I think the Demons list is awesome, the GSC list is awesome, the Astartes list is stupid because it's awesome. Orcs, I love it. The World Eaters, I don't like one War Dog.
Yeah, obviously, I was questioning it. I was like, why one?
I feel like you either do 2 or none. I think
it's
one.
It's got the Worthy Offerings, I believe.
Yeah.
Which is the one that I think makes it pop off its bonus as soon as it rocks up. But I can't remember what the bonus it took was. So you keep going, man. I'm gonna look that up quickly.
+1 to hit vehicles.
Surely, right? Surely it's the +1 to hit vehicles.
Yeah,
one.
like I feel like that's usually the best one that you can actually take in that one. Yeah. But for me, again, like I feel like you either take 2 or none of them. I don't like one. Just feels weird. Like, because 1 on average is not going to kill the things that you need that you're trying to kill when you bring a War Dog. Again, this is all my opinion too. I'm not a World Eaters player, so don't take what I say as gospel. But
yeah,
to me, it just, I don't know. It doesn't feel right. Either you take none of them and you go full melee, you just go full send, or you take 2 of them so you can actually finagle and focus down the things that you are taking them to kill. Because one of them, you just get out traded, and it doesn't actually accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. Because on average, one of those things usually won't kill like a pop a transporter. Usually because you're trying to pop transports with them.
I was incorrect. Sorry, it wasn't Precision Cruelty. It wasn't Worthy Offerings. It's Precision Cruelty and the Zinch Mirror of Fates. And I think you are correct. I do think. Let me just double check. I do think Precision Cruelty is the one you're talking about. The pluses to wound the vehicles and monsters, or the pluses to hit, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's one or the other. I think it's plus to hit, but I could be wrong. Because again, I'm not a Renegade Knight player either.
Why archers?
Weird stuff. I play against them enough. I know enough about them, but Jesse's been playing all just pure World Eaters lately, so no World Dogs.
Each time a model with a Spellbind Merchant range attack on a modified wound roll of 6 improves the AP by 1 and +1 to the damage characteristic. And then I believe the Mirror of Fates is the one that lets you get 6s.
Okay. That's cool tech.
Mirror of Fates, Zinch keyword, whilst this model's on the battlefield, each time your opponent spends a command point, you farm them. But it gives it these once per battle round after making a hit roll, wound roll, saving throw. You can change the result of one of them to a 6. That's the favored ability if you get supercharged. And then I believe there's a strat as well for Zinch that lets you pop off in another way for the Zinch keyword. If we're going to go down this rabbit hole, let's go down this rabbit hole. Let's go all the way down the rabbit hole.
All the things that this one executioner can do.
Without macabre projectiles. No. Sorcerer's ammunition. 1 CP. You just stratagem in the shooting phase before making the wound roll for an attack made by a Chaos Knight Zinch model from your army. Do not make a wound roll for that attack. It automatically wounds the target. And if the wound is allocated to a Psyker, that unit must take a dread test. If it's failed, they suffer perils of the warp. So you can just get auto wounds, but they won't be 6s. So I guess you're looking for the favorite ability of the Zinch Mirror of Fates. But yeah, that's why it's got one in there, because I guess you just need at times to be able to play into somebody who's got a freaking box with some guys inside of it, and you need to kill the guys.
I still don't think it's reliable. Into it, and I don't know World Leaders that well, but I know they have some good uses for CP.
They really do. That's actually it's a very good call. Anyway, that is that 5-pack. I am generally a very big fan of it. I even love the Slaneshi Demons. I think that is
I love the Slaneshi Demons. I think they're great.
There's a great and terrifying skew to force on people, especially when you kind of tandem them with the Orcs. They kind of work in tandem with the Orcs really well to kind of go into any of the denser tables and just really terrify people.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you actually, so the GSC can operate on anything. The World Leaders can kind of operate on anything apart from a light table. So that means the Iron Hands are going up, and everyone else, like the GSC, get to scrap. The World Leaders get to do their thing. They got 3 super aggressive lists in the World Leaders, the Orcs, and the Chaos Demons. That's actually an interesting dynamic.
Well, it depends on what the rest of the teams are like too. If they have a lot of like hold back shooting like gunline armies, then those aggressive lists are going to be nasty to deal with. Maybe they know their meta, or maybe they just want to be a very aggressive team because they are ruffians after all. So
dude, they're ruffians, mate.
They're ruffians. They got to get in there and get rough.
Exactly, they got to do it. All right, last team, and essentially I did this team because there's 2 players on this team who used to play in Australia. The lovely couple Blyers. It's Oliver and his lovely wife. And they used to live in Canberra, and I played them a couple of times. But mostly I picked this team because their name is hilarious. The name is Openis.
Are you sure that's how you say it? Looks like Opus. I don't know, man.
No, it's supposed to be capital O, capital P, and then lowercase NESS.
Well, maybe it's O penis.
That's right, it is. You're correct, sir. All right, their 5-pack. is Nihilak Necrons, which is MSU usual suspects, plus a Tesseract Vault and a Monolith. And give us that T-Vault. Slap it down. I think they're really good at the moment, especially in teams. Yep. A Prophets of Flesh, coteries of the Homunculi Drukhari list, 10 Homoxites, 35 Racks in a bunch of 5-mans and 10-mans, 2x6 Grotesques, 2 single Chronos, 2x5 Incubi, 3 Raiders and a Venom. A lovely high fleet Gorgon list, mate, which we'll get you to unpack in a moment.
What did I say? I said it last week. What are these tiered lists? Gorgon, right?
Yep.
Nailed it.
Swarmlord, he's got a Walking Tyrant, he's got a Tervigan, 30 Hormers, so 2x15, 20 Termagants, a unit of Venos, a unit of Tyrant Guard, a freaking Hyrospex.
Whoa, okay. Easy there,
Because he's just a mad lad, buddy. This guy. Straight shooter. 2 Carnivexes and 2 single Pyrovores. A Horde Valorous Heart Sisters list with Val.
Not in a while.
Val 2x20 Sisters, 2x10 Sacrosants, and 2x10 Retributors. I think it's cool. And then Orcs with Gaz, 2x20, and then 4x10 Beast Snaggers, 3 Grot Mega Tanks, and 3 single mech guns. There is a lot to unpack in this 5-pack.
Yeah. This is actually a really cool 5-pack. I really like this. It's a lot of off meta. Actually, they're like all off meta.
It really
Every single one of them. That's awesome.
This reeks of faction specialists.
Yeah, it really does. The Necrons, Nihilak with like the Tesseract Vault and Monolith. I love the Vault and Monolith in these lists too. With MSU stuff, just to complete the missions, do whatever you need to do. Drukhari. Coteries of the Homunculi. I haven't seen one of these lists in a while, and they are a pain in the butt.
It's got 3 blanket lists.
Yeah, it's got 3 of them.
Of blanket your score. Like coteries is a pseudo horde list, either by dint of number of racks or number of wounds. It's got wild as hell 6-up invuln Valorous Heart or 4-up invuln Valorous Heart list with just bodies for days. What is that? 60, 80 sisters at a minimum. There's 2 units of Seraphim in there as well for mission play. And then Goths. It's got a Goth Horde list with 80? It's got 80 Beast Snaggers. Who all have a 6-up invuln all game, and then have a 5-up on the go turn. So this is a real interesting package.
Yeah, I love this 5-pack. I feel like any team going into this, you'd be like, I don't know, like I don't know what to go. I don't know what to go into.
Here's my issue with it. Which of these lists is giving them the 20s? Is giving them big scores? Everything in here is going to get like 15s to 5s, or if they're playing equal opponents, like 12 to 8s.
I can answer that.
What, you think the Tyranids?
Yep.
Explain this. This is where we're at, because that's the unknown for me. That Tyranid list, what does it do? Why is it good?
Well, the Tyranid list, for one, it still needs to get a good matchup, because it'll have some bad matchups out there for sure. But the reason that this is, like, I love Gorgon is because they have something that Twisted Helix with GSC used to be utilized in full with all their Gene Stealers and auto wounding on 6s to hit. Those Hormagon blobs can get, what, you said they're 15 mans?
2x15.
2x15. So that's what they'll have. If they have adrenal glands, which I don't know if they do or not, they may or may not. They'll have minimum 45 attacks that'll auto wound on 6s for a CP. Because I'm sure they must have Toxin Sacks. If he doesn't have Toxin Sacks, then
they have Toxin Sacks. Yeah, I'm looking at the list now. So if you have any other questions,
so then they have a strat to auto wound on 5s with 45 attacks. Do they have adrenal glands?
No.
Okay, so 45 attacks, auto wounding. These are Hormagons, by the way, with 45 attacks, auto wounding on 5s, and they can do some mortals in there too. So those 15-man squads can trade up into almost anything. Like it's ridiculous, because they'll be getting full rerolls from the Swarm Lord.
Yep.
Like you can fish for those 5s. Like it's crazy how much damage they can do, and they'll be auto advancing 8 and still charging. So they're gonna be moving like 20, 22 inches depending on where he is, and then still charging. They will be able to trade into anything he wants them to. Tyrant, Swarmlord, they're usually they're there. You know what they do. Termagants with the Tervagon are annoying to pick off, so they can actually hold middle objectives and keep your primary getting 8s a turn at least. I don't know why 2 up, but 2 because you get 2 primaries. But yeah, it's
Hey, is there anything redeeming about the High Specs? Is there any actual reason for it to be there apart from this guy probably just loves it?
It's T8
with a 2+, and
yes,
it's got Dermic on this guy.
Okay, so he's got a 5-up invuln, or 4-up invuln. Sorry.
Yeah, but only moves 8 inches. Why does it only move 8 inches?
I don't know, man.
Oh man.
So that's not redeemable. It's just it is there to tank stuff, and to be honest, you want them to shoot at it because I don't care about it.
Yeah, he doesn't care. Well,
if he does something, hey, great. But
all the guns, he's got a Tervagon as well. He's got a Hive Tyrant, a Swarm Lord, and 2 Carnifexes. It's actually got a couple of Griblies.
It does, for sure. But the Carnifex do a lot of work too. I'm sad he didn't max out his Pyrovores. I feel like he only has 2 Pyrovores if he only took 2, because Pyrovores in Gorgon are absolutely insane because they're wounding everything that's not a vehicle with they're auto hitting, and they're auto wounding anything that's not a vehicle on Vors with their flamers.
Well, mate, sounds like we got ourselves a very spicy 5-pack there. And apologies if I got the names wrong. It's Byler, not Blyer. For Eleanor and Oliver. Shout out to you guys. Hope you guys are doing well out there. All right, mate, pick a winner. It's going to be Blood Angels for Paul.
Blood Angels for Paul, for sure. The thing, I feel like that's fair. I'm looking at the numbers here. I don't want to pick anything that's only like 2. I'll pick one of the 5s. Let's see one of the 5s that I like. I'm not going to do World Leaders again, though. So let's go. You know what? I'm feeling Tau. Let's see some Tau.
Let's go Tau. I'm going to go Daemons.
Yeah, that's a good one, too.
Daemons. Okay. All right.
That's okay.
That brings us to the end of at the end of the formal part of the
The
proceedings,
formal
we can now switch over to the silly part of the proceedings. So those are the 2 events we're going to be covering. We will be ramping up to our regularly scheduled 3 events when 10th drops. We're just not going to work too hard while we're in this kind of holding pattern, which is, I believe, they got a couple more weeks if the grapevine is correct, and I don't know anything for sure.
Well, the latest when they were showing when everything was being shown, I think the last preview was June 21st or something, so maybe early July.
Well, I think it's gonna be this month that we're gonna get.
Okay, that could be. So it could be for sure.
Yeah, by July for sure. I think we're T-minus 1 month at most of this edition. But anyway, let's jump over to that Fuego, mate. We'll lock this out. So how this is going to work, guys, production is going to join us and read us out a question. We've got 2 minutes to answer it. Might be a little bit shorter due to there only being 2 of us, but we will see how we go. Dustin has now been replaced once again by the lovely Murder She Wrote. May she rest in peace. What's her name? Damn, it's gonna hurt my feelings. What's her name, guys? The Falcon's rolling in his grave if he was dead. Very happily he's not. But once again, I'm left here talking to myself at an inopportune time. Hopefully you guys can bear with me. Thank you very much. Maybe I'll put in some... we should have a track for times like this. You back? This is also why we need 3 hosts. It really hasn't. I can hear you, mate. I think so. Well, I can hear you at least. Let's do it. Ooh, if I had to go 100% off what we know, off the factions, the faction little spotlights. I mean, Marines. I can't just pick generic Marines. That's lame. Honestly, ooh, damn. There's actually a lot of options, isn't there? Because okay, fix it.
There we go. Now we can hear me. Okay, we're back. So, I think. Sorry for those who didn't hear the question. What will be the most played faction in 10th with what we know? Space Marines is the easy one because just the most people own that.
Exactly right. Could say NIDS because they're in the box now. They're in the starter box.
Yeah. If we're going by if we're asking who's been the most played based on who has the most broken rules on from what we've seen in terms of the leaks, right now it's hands down Eldar. With a very close GSC second, which people need to calm down about because it's not.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. I don't care what you say. It's not.
I 100% I think it's Eldar. The 12 dice? 12? Why 12?
Yeah,
why not 8, 6?
Why not 1?
Yeah. Why not 1? The miracle dice.
How about none?
I actually really like the look of AdMech as well. I think the AdMech, the rad bombardment, that kind of stuff look really
They're a lot more niche, I find. It's not going to be even when they were even at their peak, there weren't that many of them showing at the tournaments. Whenever Eldar's at a peak, they are everywhere.
Yeah.
That's why I go with them. GSC AdMech, they're still up there too, but they don't have they're niche armies, like I was saying. So
also might be knights. The knight rules look very good, and a lot of people have knight armies now.
That is true. That is Fuego.
Fuego.
All right, next one. What will be the first big surprise in 10th?
I was going to say that everything's busted, or there's a bunch of busts up, but I don't think we're surprised.
Is that a big surprise? I don't think it's a big surprise.
We're expecting Crazy Train, Roller Coaster, Index 40k.
What will be, or what do I hope will be?
What do you hope will be?
I hope the big surprise in 10th is. Yeah, I can't say that. I want to say it, but I won't say it.
Well, but we're waiting, Dustin.
I know, but. Let me clean it up. That Space Marine Codex is actually bad.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I think that's fine.
But
the first one's always bad, didn't you know?
It's true.
The first Space Marine Codex of the edition is always trash.
Yeah, and then they get 5 more next year or two.
So the big surprise for me would be a version of the rules that doesn't have broken flyers. That would be that on release, there's not one faction with an index that has a broken flyer in it. That would be impressive to me.
That would be impressive. Okay. The actual big surprise, I'm hoping, is that the release schedule is actually good. As in, I don't want to wait until the end of the edition to get my codex. I do feel for those people.
Dude,
You know what
I do not own the Guard Codex.
Yeah, like how many people actually bought the Guard Codex?
10,000 points of painted guard literally in a chest of drawers behind me. I don't own the Guard Codex because I knew it was only going to exist for no more than 6 months.
Alex, the big surprise is that it's not simplified after all. That's not a big surprise, man.
Not a big surprise. Not a big surprise. And even if it starts simplified, it ain't going to end that way.
Because they said the same thing about 9th.
Yep.
Look where we are.
It's a mess.
It is a hot mess.
Next up.
Fuego. Next up, what are 10 things you're excited about for 10th edition?
New missions. 100%. I want new missions. I need new missions. Very excited about like a lot of the vehicles that were absolutely top tier nothing, like bottom tier nothing garbage. Case in point, this is a Proteus, but it is also a land. I would like to be. I'd like to use a Land Raider and not feel like a moron at a table in 10th edition. that'd be my second or my third one. Yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to a more consistent release schedule, one that is plottable, one that is pretty straight up and down. Have I just dropped?
Yep. No, you're still here. We can hear you anyway.
Oh, good. You want to chime in? You got a couple?
Things that I'm excited about for 10th. I mean, I always like a refresh in rules. I like it, keeping it fresh. Whether they're good or bad remains to be seen later on because it takes a while to kind of figure out one way or the other. I always like the refresh. Keeping the game fresh is nice and fun, so it keeps you wanting to go to tournaments and trying out the game, trying out new stuff. What I would like is I would like to be excited about trying different army builds and them actually being viable. That would be nice.
Yeah.
I'm not like I hear. Oh, he's bringing in a Space Marine list. Okay, I know what he has. Oh, he's bringing a Demon list. Okay, know what he has. Like, it's just.
Yep.
I don't like that.
I joke, but in most of the time in the end of 9th edition, if I get paired against an opponent at a GT, I don't even need to open their army list. I see what faction they're playing, and you can assume to like an 80% correct.
Exactly.
That you know what they're going to be playing.
Ridiculous.
It's kind of boring.
It's boring, and it has. Like, it's something that didn't happen a long time ago, but I realize what it was now. You know what has ruined this game for those kind of things? The internet.
The internet,
yep.
Yeah.
The internet.
being able to crowd solve a codex instantly.
Yep.
Yep.
That's Fuego. Next one. Which of the 10 biblical plagues would the Emperor use?
Oh.
I don't even know all of them. I only know a couple of them.
The plagues of Egypt, or what are we?
I would assume so. Yeah. The plagues of Egypt. Yeah, I'm actually looking them up to make sure I don't.
Okay, so there's fire raining from the sky, and all the water was as blood. And
amphibians.
The locusts.
Locust was one of them. Yeah, darkness.
And then all the turkeys wore jeans and
boils.
Giant rabbits threw eggs at people.
Drop bears everywhere.
Definitely in the Bible, the Easter Bunny plays a big part in the appendices and in the letters from Jesus.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I feel like that was
huge player.
Huge player.
Huge story arcs. Which one would he use?
To be honest, if he's trying to be ironic, it would be Death of the Firstborn.
Oh, jeez. Wow, it would, wouldn't it?
Right?
Oh, yuck.
Like how I can't think of a better one for him for that. That's just
it's actually like raining fire because the fire is the drop pods.
Yeah, but I don't know.
His angels of death are his plague.
It's true. That's actually true. We're thinking into this. Like the Emperor has a lot of biblical plagues in his playbook for sure.
And his arsenal, yeah. Exterminatus,
yeah.
100% it's one of the plagues of Egypt. I remember cracking that open, reading Exterminatus in Deuteronomy or whatever one it was, and just being like, huh.
Yep.
That emperor slaps.
That emperor slaps, man. Like he does not fool around. This is ridiculous.
He ain't joking.
We saw that one. That was easy. Piece of cake.
That was great.
All right, next one. Last one. What is the best thing that comes in tens?
So, I read this completely different. I read it as 10 seconds, and it reads like a very different question.
I mean, we all know what the best thing that comes in 10 seconds would be. That's right. Piece of cake.
Null Noil on a model, 10 seconds. Yep. It's the best thing. There's nothing crass or lowbrow about my internal answer.
Of course not.
Swear to God.
Of course not.
Lest he rain fire upon my home.
Wait, you only let your null Noil dry for 10 seconds? What kind of null Noil are you getting? Is it even wet?
No, it's dry. It's a powder. Anyway.
Powder null. Null powder.
What comes in tens?
Decades. Decades are pretty cool.
It's true. Your decades are pretty good. I'd like to enjoy quite a few more decades. That'd be good.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I like that too.
Yeah, what does come in tens?
What the heck else comes in tens? I mean, I
mean, months should have come in tens.
So we're gonna think, what are the best things that should come in tens? How about that?
Yeah. Hours of the day should come in 10s.
Hours of the day?
12s. Well, yeah. Why are we on 12?
That is
time and months. Why 12?
Well, because if we did it 10s, then our days would meld together because there's not enough time of the day. Because the nights.
Well, you just make an hour more than 60 minutes.
Okay, now you're just being. Why is it 60 minutes then? How about that? Why don't we change the hour from 60 minutes?
Exactly.
So that's the real problem. We've gotten to the root of this problem now.
Yeah.
We know
an hour should be 100 minutes. 100 minutes,
and then
10 hours in a day, 10 days in a week, and we only still work for 5 days a week, but 10 days in a week.
Because that's half of 10. There we go.
Freaking right.
Best
10 months
thing that
in
should
a
be
year.
Coming tens is time.
Life fixed.
Life
has just been fixed.
Life has been fixed.
Half of the world works on the 5 rest days, and the other half have got those days off, and then it alternates. And that's just the world system according to Adam and the Warhammer Meta Chasers. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Although, I guess Alex made a very good point with the Dire Avengers coming tens. We really could have just talked about models in Warhammer.
We actually could have talked
about We weren't even close to doing that. We were way off.
It's a good day for the WMCs and therefore the 40k community.
Well, now that we've thought about that, that's the end of Fuego. So,
a fine job, sir. Well done.
Well, that was good. That was good.
And on that note, that's going to wrap us up for this episode. Please go over and support Paul and the Warhammer crew this weekend, streaming the Kansas team tournament that we just covered in the first part of the show. And yeah, tune into the beautiful and awesome, spicy, could be very, very, very revealing 10th edition battle reports they're going to be doing on that channel as well.
You know, you guys are going to want to see that too. That's the real reason most people are going to be checking it out. But it's going to be great quality, and you have great commentary because Paul's there. Yeah, you just know. Check it out, and then make sure you check us out next week again. And don't forget, for you patrons, there is a second part coming as well. You got to see if we're right and see if Blood Angels actually did end up.
How fun it would be if Paul asked backwards into winning this week. Just so good.
Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised.
He'd be so smug about it as well, and be like,
I know. I didn't need to be here. I knew Blood Angels were going to be winning all the events. That's why I didn't show up, because I knew you picked those. Foresight.
So yours is GSC, yeah, and mine I guess would be Dark Angels, right?
Yeah, yours would be Dark Angels.
Yeah,
unless something drastically changed in your life in the next month or two.
No, I don't think so. I am planning to really expand my Marine army so I can play any Marines. I got a converted strike that I've just built sitting here.
Okay.
We'll get I'll do a converted Khan. They're all going to look like Dark Angels, but it'll let me to play my collection as any.
Of course. Yeah. Well, that's the benefit of playing Marines. So I'm not going to I will be playing some Tyranids because new models mean Dustin needs to play with boys, right?
How many Leviathan boxes are you getting?
2.
I think that's the right number. And then check them out. Suss out if you need a third once you see the rules. Anyway, on that note, we will sign out, mate. Thank you very much, Dustin. Say goodnight.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you all next week.
See you then.